All right, welcome to the DIY Toycast. I'm your host, Gordon, here with my co-host, Brett, and tonight we have our guest, Omnirez, Dick Jones. Uh, Want to tell us a little bit about, kind of stuff you make, maybe, for those not familiar with your work?
All right. I'm Dick Jones, as Gordon just said, and I think primarily, if you know Dick Jones, you know that I operate as Omnirez and I make resin toys. Generally, just all hand sculpted or kit bashed or bootlegged. I don't 3D sculpt and I don't 3D print. Not for any objection. I just am
No,
I'm
and that's
a
like a
bit of
part
a
of
luddite in that way.
that's part of why we wanted you on the show is like I feel like it's cool to hear all the different avenues that you can take to get to a similar point.
Yeah. And I've been working for more than 15 years now as like
Oh
art
shit.
director and live stream producer. That's
Nice.
kind of my day job is I play with audio video stuff on a huge corporate level, supporting hundreds of thousands of users and doing, you know, hybrid streamed events. Like, some people
Mhm.
are in an auditorium somewhere and then, your hundreds of thousands are watching online somewhere else. And uh, I've worked doing live sports, and I've an accomplished, I guess, designer, graphic designer, web designer, uh, kind of just a jack of all trades in the digital world there. And I guess that's kind of why I've never really gotten into 3D modeling or 3D printing is to just spend a lot of time on computers, in
Totally.
my day job.
Yeah.
So the art stuff, it's fun to kind of get my hands dirty. And it's not to say I did study 3D modeling in school. I used to use 3D Studio Max back in the day and could do a bit of modeling and a little bit of rudimentary scripting and stuff. But
Mhm.
that's probably all lost on me. I doubt I could just jump right back in and use what I learned because, gosh, college was quite a while ago now. It
Mhm.
was actually my 20th high school reunion was just this year. I did not go. That ain't my bag. But I did laugh at the pictures and how old everybody looked.
Excellent.
Um,
Yeah.
but just to show off a little bit here,
Oh
Oh,
shit.
hell
Omnirez
yeah. Yeah,
Game Boy
my
came,
man's got yeah,
Game Boy
it's
came.
straight. Yeah, we knew it was coming. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
I
so
go. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, in addition to all of your resin work, you're a huge Game Boy fan, much like myself.
I am a huge Game Boy fan. Of course, every model of Game Boy is somewhere over here right now.
Sick. Hell yeah.
Um, I recently acquired my Grail, the Game Boy Micro, that little bitty guy.
Oh my God,
Never
I
had
had
one before, and
oh,
I had
they're great, aren't they? They're so
it's
fun.
unbelievably playable for how small it is. I mean, the
Yeah.
screen is so crispy, and the resolution and the button feels on that. It's just so great little springy buttons on there.
Yep.
An incredible device. I never knew how great they were. I knew I had to have one for the collection. I didn't think it would actually be playable as much as it is.
No, I had one in high school because all my friends were like in the DSs, and I was like, "What do I need two screens for? This fits in my pocket." Like, and it was so pocketable and so friendly to have in class or like study hall or
Yeah.
something. And the battery life was like shockingly good on them for how little they are.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah, it's a
I love DS even still. I've stayed
oh,
with.
I do
I'm a
too.
handheld through and through. I
Hell
play
yeah,
my
brother.
Switch. My Switch never goes in the dock. That thing is just right in front of my face.
Sick. Awesome, man. Yeah,
But yeah,
what a get. The micros are hard to come by now.
yeah. They were pricey, and I was in a position where I could afford one finally. And there was one on Facebook Marketplace for 30, $40 less than market.
Score.
I was like,
Nice.
this is my opportunity. I'm getting it.
Awesome. What color did you get?
It has a blue faceplate, and I
Oh, right
wonder if
on.
it's original because it fits a little wonky. But
It's probably aftermarket.
yeah,
I know our Retro Game Repair Shop, they sell really nice aftermarket ones.
I want to get a cooler aftermarket
Yeah,
one
they sell
because
good aftermarket ones.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. But yeah, so you're obviously an accomplished resin artist. So growing up, what were some of your influences that led you to making your
Ooh,
own toys?
So
Other than Game Boy, of course.
so I have always been a kit basher, right?
Nice.
I've been an action figure, lover and collector, obviously, since as long as I can remember, little kid. Earliest figures I had, I'm 38 now. So the earliest figures I had were TMNT. And
Okay, nice.
He-Man was before me. GI Joe started before me, but maintained throughout my youth. Um, and Transformers. Those were kind of the big three for me: Transformers, TMNT, GI Joe. So those are the earliest ones I remember collecting. Um, GI Joe also not just the 3 and 3/4 inch, but also the big guys,
Oh, yeah, the
right?
12-inch like action dolls.
Yeah. So
So
I
so were you
love
the
those.
older sibling or like were you
I
getting any
was.
hand-me-downs?
I was
Okay,
not getting hand-me-downs, not from brothers, but I did get lots of hand-me-downs from uncles.
nice.
And that's kind of how I got into the big GI Joes, because they were kids in the 70s, right?
Right.
And so I got their hand me down Lego, so I had a lot of 70s, early
Oh
80s
man.
Lego and the GI Joes, right? And then also my cousins, they got the hand me down Adventure People, and I would play at my cousin's
Oh
house a
man.
lot. And the Adventure People, I remember that just being such a treat. Like, all my guys are like freaks and mutants, and I get to
Hmm.
go to my cousin's house and play with like the TV guy and the scuba guy, and like it seems lame when you compare them, but actually, like I was always really hyped to just kind of play with these like normal guys. Like,
Yeah,
oh, look at this is a chick with an afro. Like, what is that?
right.
That's awesome. What is she doing? Like,
Yeah.
it was unique. I loved those, very influential on me. But the GI Joes were the most important, right? Because and the little both the little and big, right? Because customization, right? And so as soon as I learned that I could unscrew that screw in the back of the little GI Joes and that I could start popping their limbs and changing their heads and arms around, they became infinitely more exciting, right? And then with the bigger guys, it was the clothing and dressing them,
Mhm.
and trying to make them look even, like the standard soldier look didn't really appeal to me. If I could make them look like a cool special ops guy or just like more of street clothes or swap, find some cool Ken sweaters to swap on them. And even to the point I started making my own felt clothes. Like I'd get craft felt and just kind of,
Yeah.
cut out patterns and glue and just make my own little outfits for them and stuff. And I got very good at sewing at a pretty young age and
Oh
started
shit.
just making my own clothes for them. That was like one of my favorite things ever.
That fucking
Um,
rules, man. That's so sick.
Yeah, and
I
you
thought I was going
continue
to be
to
a
do
fashion
like
designer when I was a kid. That was kind of one of my first. That was kind of one of my first dreams. Was I wanted to make clothing because it's what I was doing. And I don't know. As a kid, I was very confused. I knew I wanted to be an artist, and of course, what was cool to me is like comic books and cartoons, and
Mhm.
maybe I'm going to be a cartoonist someday, or maybe I'm going to be a comic book artist, or and then it was kind of like, oh, maybe fashion is a more attainable route to go as an artist. And as I matured, digital tools started becoming more and more of a thing, and um, I had an interest in that, but not really any accessibility to it until my teenage years. My mother was always had computers. She was an architect.
Okay.
As soon as it was economic for her to no longer draft on a big table, she had computers and CAD programs, and so I did always have access. And we had software like Corel Draw and things like that
Mhm.
that I would use to create art. And my mother and I actually started a kind of like a small home business with a vinyl cutting plotter, and we would design vehicle
Cool.
graphics and go to racetracks and cut them right out of the back of her truck and apply them right on people's cars
Oh, that's
at the
awesome.
track. And it
That's
was
so
like
badass.
amateur guys, like guys that owned vintage Porsches and wanted to go take them for parade laps and stuff on the track. And you'd have to put a number on the car for you know scorekeeping purposes or whatever. And a lot of
Mhm.
guys would just take like a shoe polish and write the number on the car or something. But we got the idea to sell them these cut numbers, and they would look a lot better, and guys would love them because they could take pictures of their cars looking like a race car. And it was cool. And that was
Yeah.
kind of my first artistic like enterprise,
Mhm.
right? And in digital art. And so that kind of got me going. And when it came time to go to college, I settled on kind of like a digital art degree. It was called new media.
Okay.
So I was able to study graphic design, web design, video production, a little bit of photography. and then kind of like computer culture or digital culture, right? Like literally I had a class where we would watch cool stuff like Ghost in the Shell and talk about it. And like
Man.
we had class in Second Life one time. Like you remember Second Life,
Yeah.
you
Yeah, the
know?
game.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
The other it was he would switch semester to semester. He would do Second Life or World of Warcraft. I didn't get the World of Warcraft
Oh
semester. I had to do
man.
Second Life. I thought
Yeah, man.
Warcraft would have been a little cooler, but
Yeah, man. You could have been in the Goldshire Tavern, RPing as a
yeah,
night elf. That would have been sick.
Second Life was just porn. I mean, it was just porn.
No, that's a
And
horny game. Yeah.
yeah, and one of my favorite anecdotes from that class ever is like it was a very open class, and like the final project was a kind of a do what you want situation, and a kid in that class made the most just graphic over the top gay porn machinima in Second Life, like just like white Siberian tigers
Hell yeah.
like in every wall, and just like white Siberian tiger blanket on the bed, and just two dudes just going at it, like, and showed that to the whole class, and it was set to Snoop Dogg's Sexual Eruption, right? And that was just
What
what
a
a like
legend.
that's I paid for that.
Yeah, as you should
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a course worth taking. That's
It
awesome.
was. I loved the professor so much. I took another course of his. It was called Queer Media Convergence, and it was we watched gay porn in that class too. It was wild. So
Nice.
you know, Purchase. I went to SUNY Purchase. It's kind of a notoriously liberal heroin school. I mean,
Hmm.
nobody. I mean, wasn't as much of a heroin school when I went there because it was the 2000s and it's kind of already out of style. But back in the day, I guess it's kind of a big heroin school. Um, but it was wild. I mean, I had classes with kind of the people that you would look at and you'd be like, what boxcar did that guy roll out of? And he's like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, my parents are executives at Columbia Records from the Hamptons. And like, you look
Right.
like you're from the tracks. Like, what the weird place, and
Hmm.
I'm kind of this like country upstate New York guy who's just, going because the tuition's cheap because it's in state, and it's an art school, and I just wanted to be as weird as I could,
So how did
but
you
not
like
that weird.
find out about, I don't know, like the resin bootlegging and like sort of art toy scene? Like was that
Yeah.
like I stumbled across that through, there was actually like an art gallery in the town that I'm nearby in Northampton, and like a dude had like a gallery where he'd have like graffiti artists, and he had like his entire like Japanese sofubi vinyl connection or
Hmm.
collection. And like I happened to come across it in person, but like I feel like a lot of people my age might only encounter it through the internet, like Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Like,
So
how did you stumble into it?
it would have been before it would have been before Instagram.
Hmm.
I mean, Facebook was a thing at that point. Maybe it had been there, but my first exposure was the Suck Lord, right? And
Okay.
seeing the bootleg Star Wars in the bright pink and
Hmm.
the custom card back and everything. It's the first time I'd seen that before. I whether or not he's the first to do it, I don't know. I'm no historian, but
Hmm.
I know he's been doing it a long time, and that's the earliest I'd ever seen it. And I believe I was still in college when I had.
Okay.
Um, and I didn't think much of it at the time. I'll be honest. I thought it was cool. Um,
Hmm.
but it didn't click immediately. Like it didn't like, oh, I want to do something similar to that. Right. Like it was just kind of like this is within my scene, within my realm. This is a New York artist doing,
Hmm.
some like weird, just cutting edge shit. And I had known a few people in college in, the sculpture world that were doing molds and casting
Okay.
things, and, just casting strange objects. Like a good friend cast a chicken wing
Hmm.
and, made a bunch of resin chicken wings. And I still have that piece somewhere, and that's my earliest resin art piece as a collector, right? And
Nice.
I
Oh
love
yeah.
that piece. Um, and so I guess it kind of was like a snowball effect, right? Like very slowly, these things came crashing into my world, and it was 2015 when I like actually started casting resin,
Hmm.
making molds. And it was kind of the direct result of makers like ETC Toys, who were just kind of bootlegging really cool vintage little things like the little cool candy dispensers and
Okay.
other things that would make like really simple dump molds, and they're casting them in all these crazy colors and swirls and glows, and just the aesthetic of that was like, I was like, that's beautiful. Like just
Hmm.
taking this like mundane toy object, like this gross little brown Alf, toy candy head thing,
Hmm.
and making a mold, and then creating this crazy galaxy swirl of sparkles, and it makes this ugly little piece so much more interesting, right? And that was kind of the spark. I was like, I want to do that. I want the pieces that I make, I want to create them in these crazy colors and these crazy swirls. And then in kind of researching that, that's when I discovered the world of sofubi and soft
Okay.
vinyl and all those
Nice.
bright colors and all those swirls. And that was like, oh wow, so that's the next level. And that's what would be, like, to get to that level would be neat. Not
Hmm.
actually like an aspiration of mine at this point, but something that is like just the aesthetic, the colors, the style, not necessarily the medium that
Hmm.
important to me. And yeah, I mean, I made my first mold. I did, what most people do is I ordered like the starter kit from Smooth On. It
Hmm.
came with the Umu mold, which is like mold rubber, which is like a pretty cheap tin cure mold rubber. It's very brittle and it's pretty hard to work with. But it's easy to, it's 1:1 ratio, mix it up. No degassing necessary. You didn't really need any extra tools.
Okay.
Don't need a gas chamber, or what, a vacuum chamber rather, or anything like
Hmm.
that. And I made a mold of the T800 figure from the BioFlesh
Oh, nice.
regenerator
Yeah.
playset, right? And and I thought it would be cool to try to use the BioFlesh regenerator set to also, put flesh onto my casts, and then
Hmm.
Yeah.
like distribute those and everything. And I ultimately I fucked up the bioflesh mold doing weird shit to it because
Hmm.
I had no idea how any of these materials reacted, or what they
Right.
would do when you mix them with other things. And so I was just like a mad scientist experimenting and mixing. And I had YouTube and whatnot at my disposal, but it was, still a little limited in terms of just getting that information. And so a lot of it was trial and error, and just, like I thought right away that I could just I want to just put some acrylic paint in there to color it. That'll work, right? Like, nope, that won't work. So it's just had a lot of mishaps and a lot of messes, and I just kept pushing and learning. And my first kind of the first piece that I think I ever made with any success, right, was like I pull them out and show them off because I got it all right here.
Nice.
Um, it was something I called the Globster, which was something I sculpted originally. I took just a generic old action figure. I believe it was a Power Rangers figure, and I just sculpted on top of it all sorts of just gloopy, weird nonsense to just make a gloopy, globby monster that uh, called the Globster. And a Globster is kind of like a classic cryptid in the mythology of just a washed up glob of sea goop, and that was kind of what I was going for. And so I
Oh yeah.
sculpted that. And this is actually, and this is I guess the cast I decided to keep. I feel like I had a cooler cast, but whatever. Maybe I sold it because like I'm like that, and I just keep whatever doesn't sell. But I made a lot of these, and it just, it was the first time I was real successful in like multi pours. And
Okay.
so like I'd pour one color and let it fill in the details of all this squiggliness, and then I
Hmm.
pour the other color, and then you get this great effect. It's not as great on this one, it's a little bit more blocky, but you could get a really great kind of um here's a better example, and this one's bigger,
Oh
but it's
wow.
same sculpt. um
And did you do like the mineral spirits trick to increase that mold?
I did. Yep. I did
Okay.
the mold in mineral spirits. And
Nice.
so it's an exact copy, but a little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's a really nice size creep too. He looks good.
Yeah, I gotta think what I'm, about 40% maybe.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
that looks really good, man. That turned out great.
So I'm
I
not
love that
And
color.
familiar with that trick. Like, what's going on there? Does the mold just expand?
the mold expands. Yeah. It's a bit tricky because it becomes less, it loses some integrity as it expands.
Yeah.
So it can like
Okay.
very easily rip and tear once it's expanded. And so I just got one good cast off the expanded mold and then made
Okay.
another mold of the
Yeah.
bigger one. Um,
Yep.
so it's a little expensive when it comes to rubber if you're buying rubber and having to,
Mhm.
but I'll say this: if you're getting into resin casting, you just prepare to waste a lot of money, right? It's kind
I
of how it
mean,
Yeah.
I feel
goes.
like that's the entire, like, if you're doing
Well,
DIY toy making stuff, like even us 3D printing, like
Right?
it just
Yeah,
we're pouring money into a hole for fun, and like
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
you get a cool toy out of it, but
Yeah.
waste is
Most of the
part of
time
the
you get a big
process,
mess. Yeah.
right?
yeah. And the Globster, I thought I was being revolutionary because I was working in these glass eyes.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
nice.
my favorite accessory.
And what I do is I just stick them in the mold. I use a little bit of Vaseline on the eye, stick it to the inside of the mold, and it would stay in place long enough for me to pour the resin around it, and it would cure right around the eye. And so they're just kind of embedded right in there.
Yeah.
And
In another life you were a denture technician in a laboratory because that's how you do denture teeth. That's how you get it
oh yeah,
back when you used to have
I'll
to
tell
hand
you
cast
what.
molds.
I would, if I could go back, I'd be a dentist or a dental hygienist. Like it's gross, but I can handle it.
Yeah.
The attention to detail, the getting in there, the scrubbing, the teeny
Yeah.
tiny. Oh, I love all that kind of stuff. But but yeah, so the Globster went well. I sold a lot of these over the years. I've made a lot of different versions, glow in the dark, the big ones, the small ones, and I've kind of stopped making them because I just get bored, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
there's probably only about 30 people out there that want to buy my stuff, and they've all bought one already. So it's there's no sense in making any more. Um,
So when you're out selling stuff, like, are you setting up at shows, or like how do you mostly
oh
get your
gosh,
stuff out there to
I
people?
don't really. The truth is like I don't put a lot of effort into sales, and I part of it is part of it's always been that it's not been the driving force of what I do and why I do it. Um,
Hmm.
I've always worked full time and consider myself successful in my career, and so it's never been about the money.
Hmm.
Of course, it's as an artist, you love that other people want your work and you do want them to have it and you want to get it out there, but also in the small quantities that I make and in the amount of effort that it takes, I do kind of feel like it's the work is special
Yeah,
and people should almost have to work to get it,
right.
right? And but not hard, just
No,
I
but I
it's
totally get that. Is you want it to end up in the hands of someone who wants it rather
yeah.
than someone who's just like buying it because they feel sorry for you or something.
Right. And I always have this like, I always have this guilt because, and can this person really afford to be giving me money right now?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
and that's just because like I'm not wealthy. I'm just doing okay. I'm making it with, my career. But I know that that's not everybody, right? I know that a lot of people are in low wage jobs and they like art too, and they like
Hmm.
toys too. And it stresses me out knowing that there are people that it's just not as easy for, like, as it is for me to just be buying toys and buying art.
Hmm.
And so, I like part of me wants to just give the stuff away, right, to the right
Right.
people. And I do. So a lot of times it is just like I give it away or I trade with other
Hmm.
artists and my main distribution channel is just Instagram. I don't use much else.
Yeah.
And I
Cool.
don't have a storefront. I just kind of post and I'm not even aggressive. I don't price my stuff usually. I don't even say, hey, it's available, hit me up. I'll kind of save it and wait and wait and wait. And then I'll repost it and say, hey, like, by the way, this is available and it's this much if you want,
Hmm.
it is. Um, and then of course shows the Toy Pizza Con is, one that I've participated in since Jesse started that. And generally I've moved most of my stuff at those, right?
Hmm.
Like I'll just kind of build up stock throughout the year, set up at Toy Pizza Con, and usually do pretty good and get rid of a good amount of it. Um, you know, I did when I first started, I did have like a store envy site.
Okay.
I was putting stuff up there and doing the inventory and
Mhm.
all of a sudden I hate it. I hate it, right? Like and it's not
It's
just
it's
like
it's the worst part of being creative.
yeah, it's the work. I hated the work, but I also hate like giving my money away to anybody else. I hate paying taxes. I hate fees. I hate the
Hell yeah.
technology companies that collect a piece of your
Hmm.
I would never be on Etsy. I would I just not I can't do any of that. I don't believe in any of it. I'm a shithead leftist like that. Like I hate it. Um, and I just you can't get any of my money because I'd rather give it away to somebody for free than let you fucking billionaires get a piece of my pie. Like
Hmm.
so, it's it's hard out there for a radical terrorist like me, I guess.
But actually,
Um,
I'd be curious. Like, I've talked to Brett about this. Like, he's a dad, and like, he wants to make his stuff accessible to other parents with kids too.
I mean, that's a noble cause. I don't want kids to have my stuff, to be honest. My stuff's all dicks, farts, and pussies. Like
I don't know. The big dog, that's an all ages item.
Yeah, that's
I
enough,
guess,
actually.
I guess.
I
I mean,
like the big dog. I'm partial to the big dog.
the big dog. He's
Fuck yeah,
swinging
dude.
lumber, though. Like I
Oh
don't
yeah, no, no, he's got a set on him. I'm wrong. Never mind. Jesus God, look at the pecker on that fellow.
yeah, I mean it's and don't get me wrong, my kid's got a globster, right? I mean a
Mhm.
globster is just a wad of snot, more or less, right? There's nothing
But
objectionable
like,
about that, but
talking about your early influences, like that's all the TMNT were. That's all. Like, I
oh
love the.
yeah,
Was it was it called Toxic Avengers for the toy line, or it
yeah,
was different than like the actual Toxic
yeah.
Crusader was the movie, right? And
No,
the
Toxic
trauma movie.
Avengers the movie, Toxic
Okay,
Crusader is the
okay,
toy.
yeah, that's what it
Yeah,
is.
I think
But
that's
like,
how.
those are some seriously
Oh
fucked
yeah.
up
I mean,
toys.
for my I other than the pre-mentioned, action figures, huge Mad Balls and Blurp Balls fan.
Hmm.
My Blurp Ball was like a cherished toy. I mean, loved my Blurp Ball. I had the Squelch Ball. It was just a gross, squishy heart filled with
Hmm.
blood, and you just squeeze it, and, and that was I love that. And my kid has got that in her. I think all kids have it in them. They
Oh
love this
yeah.
gross stuff. Um, but I my stuff is has some social commentary in it and has some
Hmm.
you know like a bit of a I don't know, I don't want to say political, but everything's political, so it is kind of political, but it's just it's not for kids. They can have
Yeah.
it, but it's not for them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But to make stuff that is for kids and to want to get it out there for them, very important and something that somebody needs to be doing. It's just not me.
Hmm.
Um, because kids need these kind of influences too. Because these toys these days that are made for kids, I don't know, man. I
But
don't
I
know.
think like something that's so cool about you and Brett is like your kids can see that you can make stuff, and like it's not just you have to go to the store to buy it. Like
Yeah.
we have toys at home. We can make things at home. We can
Oh,
make
and
We
our
have
own weird
new
shit.
ideas at home. We don't have IP at home. We have our own IP.
right.
We're original at home. And it's because that's all there is to retail.
Yeah.
It's all IP slop from the 80s. And I
Yeah.
love a lot of it. But there's not a lot of fresh out there. And like the fresh
Oh,
stuff is cool. Like that like Ninjambi, really cool. You lob
pretty
an
cool.
arm
Yeah.
off it and it's shooting mad ropes out of its arm. Like
Yep.
it's crazy and it's disgusting, but it's like that feels like the second coming of TMNT more than a rehash of
Yeah.
TMNT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to give him credit, but those Mr. Beast toys with the
Yeah.
interchangeable,
I,
um,
and I can't and you
yeah.
know and I welcome our future president, but that being said, anytime I pick those up, I think this is money I'm giving to Moose because those guys are the only
Moose.
guys that get
Moose are
it.
legit. And right. Even before Mr. Beast was even a thing, Moose was
Right.
still making the gross toys that I
And
love.
they were making fun shit,
Yeah.
like Mattel and Hasbro, they seem completely void of a new idea.
Truly.
And I like and like and it's tough because I like a lot of the IP they own, but I don't know how many more 6-inch Snake Eyes the world needs, right?
Tell
I
me
think
about it.
I think Classified's long in the tooth. I think G.I. Joe could be fun again, but
Classified, I think, was like a failure from launch because it just, I don't know. Like
it's
again,
just
I can kit
it
bash anything. I can kit bash those legend styles too, but it
yeah,
doesn't lend itself to it. Like, and that's like for me, that's GI Joe. GI Joe is reusing molds,
yep,
repainting it, switching them up, just kit bashing, and that was the beauty of GI Joe. And when you turn Black Series, Marvel Legends, all these,
Mhm.
sure, I have them, right? I buy
yeah,
them when they hit Ollie's and Ross for $5,
yep.
right? They ain't worth that much more than that to me.
No, I agree.
They
They feel sterile. There's no
yeah.
life.
I mean, dude, the Toy Biz Marvel. I mean, I
Yeah.
still have my entire Toy Biz Marvel collection. I
Preach.
mean, the Ninja Wolverine,
Mhm.
Space Wolverine, like every different
I got
kind of
my
Wolverine. Like
my boy right here.
that's my boy too. I'm a Cyclops man through and through. Um,
In my opinion, they've never done a better Jim Lee Cyclops, and it's because he's barrel chested. This is a fat from whiskey body.
yeah, that
That's what
is
this is.
that is how, and that's how he should look. I mean, yeah, they call him slim, but he ain't that
Yeah.
slim. He can kick your
No.
fucking ass. Like
Yeah.
this is the man who goes toe to toe with Captain America. You seen the chest on that man?
That's right.
Like, there's no way. There's no way little skinny Slim could stand up to Cap. It's got to be
Especially that Rob Liefeld cap.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, 12 different cables. Just
Mhm.
every but cable was. I mean, the most '90s. It was all about cable for a while. It had to have, you know, all the various cables.
Mhm.
Eh,
Cable in space. Cable
yeah.
goes to the mall. Cable underwater.
But those toys were so good, so good.
Well, they were fun, and like I appreciated, because I'm a little bit younger. I had my brothers hand me down stuff, but I really appreciated how insane some of it was because you kind of had to make up your own narrative. It's like, well, why the fuck would Wolverine be in a spacesuit? Well, you know what? I think it's okay that I lost Wolverine's mask and he's this screaming little angry goblin man. Like, I think that's good. And then now, as an adult, I'm like, man, Hugh Jackman sucks. They should have got someone 5'3" to be play Wolverine.
Who was the who oh it was Bob Hoskins
Yes,
was
the
the like,
original.
Oh
and
man,
that's
that would have
so
been
dead
wild.
on. If it had been Bob Hoskins, that would have been incredible. I mean,
Dude, that would have gone crazy. It would
yeah,
have
I
been so
remember there
sick.
was fan casts for Danzig, and I'm like, can Danzig fucking act? The man can barely sing. I don't like, what is the like, this is a message to Misfits fans who have like a favorite Misfits singer. Let me tell you right now, I could sing Misfits just as good as any of those fucking guys can. They all sound the same to me. None of them are talented vocalists. Jerry Only sounds just like Danzig. Corey Graves sounds a little bit different than the others. He can sing the songs it's all the same shit. That's all it is. It sounds the same. You can't have a favorite Misfits singer. Just listen to Misfits. Just enjoy it. They're all assholes too, so it doesn't matter. Like,
But back to the Toy Biz stuff, like for me, a lot of what's so good about that is like you can see the individual artists as like behind different sculpts or even trying to like mimic the different
oh
comic book
yeah,
artists. Whereas like a lot of I feel like modern Marvel comics and modern Marvel Legends, it's like the hewing to the house style sheet, so everything is sort of the same.
yeah,
Whereas like I want to see like 10 different versions of Spider-Man or Wolverine or Captain America. And I also want to see like the really weird fucked up guys like Man Thing or
yeah.
was
Or like
Marrow the
Husk from
or Husk,
X-Men.
yeah.
Yeah, or
So,
Marrow, yeah.
the absolute best Toy Biz subline was the Age of Apocalypse. No, not Age of Apocalypse. Jump forward a little bit more.
Yeah.
Onslaught.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Onslaught. And this was a point at which, and he's Wolverine. I hate to give him all the credit because I'm a Cyclops man, but in this case, it's Wolverine. At this point, Wolverine is in his feral beast mode, right? And the version of him, that figure, from the Onslaught line, where he's got tufts of real fur coming out his
Oh,
forearms,
nice.
and his proportions are just absolutely monstrous. I mean, his knuckles are dragging on the ground. His like feet are like just completely disproportionate to the size of the rest of his body, and he's got these bone claws,
Hmm.
and he's
And
got his
the
do
pirate
rag,
bandana. Yeah.
the bandana, the covering the eyes, do rag style bandana instead of the regular mask. That is the peak of
Hmm.
Toy Biz Marvel action figures. I have him right over here somewhere. I'll knock over way too much stuff trying to get him, but he is very important to me. And I pair him with a random Jubilee from some other weird random line, who
Nice.
is also just a bizarre version of Jubilee with like
Hmm.
a weird little bob that she's never really had in the comics. She's
Hmm.
wearing like all pink and has like the X-Force style, just pouches and shit everywhere. And I'm like, this is Jubilee's never looked like this. This is fucking awesome, you know? And who better to pair up with this gnarly looking Wolverine than
Well, and to me, what that allows you is like if you're an actual kid, like now you get to tell the story of why they're so
yeah, you
fucked up.
figure it out on your own. Yeah, you
Right.
make up your like, why does he look like? I didn't know. I mean, I was reading at the same time. I was reading Onslaught as the same time I was buying them, but I didn't know why what the connection to this Jubilee was. I don't think it was
Mhm.
based on any comic. It was just like a totally toy invented line. So it was like, yeah, I got to make this up. I got to figure out why she looks like this.
Well, and for me, the experience of Marvel Comics was always like I got I think a short box from my cousins of just random back issues. So none of them are connected. Um, and then I got a shoebox full of, I think it was like uh, either Tops or Fleer trading cards, the ones where it was like the Joe Jusko like paintings with the bio info on the back. And so like
Fear, yeah,
half my knowledge of like comic stuff was just through flipping
yeah.
repeatedly through trading
I
cards.
think that's a lot of people. Yeah,
Never read an issue of like half of these characters. And so I just had to make up in my head, like, how is any of this connected?
yeah. The Fleer, I have the Fleer 94 and 95 sets I collected as a kid back in the day.
Hmm.
And they were, yeah. I mean, in 94, 95, I was reading the comics, but I was probably too young to be getting most of it. And the
Hmm.
cards were the primary source. Like that was who's this guy? Like I didn't read a comic with GW Bridge in it. Like who the hell was GW Bridge? I had his card, and that's how I knew who GW Bridge was. Like, you know,
Right.
that
Well, and you're a kid and like
crazy.
your allowance is what, like ten bucks if that? Like there's no way you're buying that many comics to actually
Ah,
like follow
wow.
a
Yeah.
storyline or
I was
anything.
blessed. I was blessed. My mother was a nerd. She
Oh,
bought the
nice.
comics and read them. And she fully supported. She bought the comics for me. She bought the toys. She bought the
Mhm.
cards. She got into it just as much as me and my brother did. I have a classic picture of him and I as Wolverine and Cyclops in fully homemade costumes that my
Oh,
mom
nice.
Hell
made
yeah.
because
Hell yeah.
she was into it. She
Hmm.
would make sure we VHS taped the X-Men cartoon if we were at soccer practice or soccer games on Saturday morning and couldn't actually
Hmm.
watch it. Like she was awesome. She is awesome. She remains awesome.
That
Gotta shout
rules.
out to my mom, who
Yeah.
really is like the main driving force behind my creativity, my everything that I do today, and in art and my career. I mean,
Hmm.
if it weren't for her career and having computers and just all that, it really is. It's we're mommy. Love my
Yeah.
mom.
Or any like I feel like having anybody who's creative and like supportive of create your creativity in your corner, be that like, you know, parent, an uncle, an older sibling, even a younger sibling, like that's how people continue to do this stuff and aren't just crushed under the weight
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
capitalism.
My dad was a
Um,
cop, so he was kind of the opposite.
mhm.
Yeah, great dad, loved me and everything, but had not, I mean, so uncreative. The man wouldn't even watch like a sci-fi show event. Like Star Trek was like poison to him.
Mhm.
Star Wars was dumb. He would only watch like westerns or dumbass Ernest or like Chris Farley comedies. Like that was he couldn't draw for shit.
Hey, Ernest Scared Stupid is a pretty great film.
It is. Upon revisiting them, it's really like the only one that is defensible.
Yeah.
It's they're rough.
Have you
But
seen any of those
Tombstone,
films?
man. I mean, Tombstone is incredible, and that's the ultimate
Okay,
dad
yeah.
movie. They made me watch so many times, and I'll still watch it, and it's still good, and it makes me think of him, and
Mhm.
it's a good time.
Nice. So,
Wanna,
So I was going to say, so what's next for Dick Jones and Omnirez? You got anything in the pipe?
that's a great question that I don't actually have an answer to.
Cool.
I've been kind of floating around, wondering what the next move is, what I'm really passionate about right now. And the last thing that I really kind of went hard on was making freaking fingerboards for no reason other than that I got into
Oh
fingerboarding
my,
mhm.
yeah,
and I wanted to make
that's an awesome
fingerboards,
side quest. Yeah.
right? It's that's just kind of me. Like I get an obsession and that's something that I just am into personally.
Mhm.
And then my brain tells me, okay, now do it better. Like
Mhm.
take like do or but not maybe not better, right? Because like I guess that's a little diminutive to some like creators, right? Like if I'm saying, I mean, fuck Tech Deck, but there are other guys that make like good fingerboards, and I'll never be better than them. But it's just is like it's a tinkering urge.
Yeah,
It's like I have to make it my own, whether
right.
it's better or not. I have to make it my own. Um, and just kind of deconstructing something,
Mhm.
reconstructing it, and then the feeling I get from doing that, from having learned something new, it gets me. It gets me there. It's a good feel.
Yeah.
Like that's the best feeling. And so I mean, what's next? I don't know. These dog guys. I really enjoyed making clothes again. I love making clothes. I've gotten really into making costume stuff, like making a Mandalorian armor,
Yeah,
um, making
that was coming along
masks.
awesome.
Yeah, so I think like a part of me is like is becoming is I want to become the action figure. I think is the next move,
Nice.
right? Like it's always been about dressing action figures, customizing action figures. And I get bigger and bigger and grander in scale with that all the time, and it's
Mhm.
like I'm to the point where I can kit bash anything. You give me like a bunch of Marvel Legends figures, I'm gonna heat them up with a fucking heat gun and start pulling all the parts and start, painting and mixing, and it's just like everything is fair game, and my skills have developed that I know how to just deconstruct anything. I can cut anything apart in a way that I can put it back together. I can maintain playability. I can maintain articulation, like, and it's getting boring. So I think like I'm the action figure now, kind of. um
So when you're like planning a project or something, do you keep like a sketchbook or a notepad or like do you brainstorm on paper or you just like come up with a concept,
hey,
start fucking around with materials and then work your way through it?
it's a lot of in my head, right? Because
Okay.
I'm not a very like not I'm not a plan I'm not a plans guy. I'm very
Okay.
impulsive. I do draw, and I do draw out ideas, right? And
Hmm.
when I want to sculpt something from scratch, it starts as a drawing.
Okay.
And then I say, how do I turn this drawing into something three-dimensional? And like an
Hmm.
example is like the my most recent like showpieces like are these this like Madball style thing that I've created, and I've been on this for a while where I've been trying to create like my own Madball.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
And so this was kind of my first. This one's reflecting the light real weird, but this was kind of my first attempt. Was this creature, and I drew it. My drawing concept was like just a very bubbly looking creature. All the shapes were just circles,
Hmm.
starting eyes, circles, nose, circle, mouth, lips, circles, and it just, and that's kind of how I drew him. And then that's kind of just exactly how I sculpted him, and it just kind of just kept making little balls and just sticking them, and just
Hmm.
um and I did the same, for this guy where it was I had a drawing of like I was trying to draw like a manzilla,
Hmm.
and I drew it, and I loved this little sketch that I drew, and I said, oh, so I'm gonna make that into an 3D object.
Hmm.
So and I'm not much of a sculptor really. I have no formal training in sculpting. I really started this as like a bootleg and kit bashing adventure. And as I
Hmm.
said, it's just, it got kind of boring. I got too good at it. And now I'm just seeing if I can sculpt, right? And I don't know, the response to the stuff that I've sculpted myself is certainly way more tepid than the response to, something pop culture-y and referential and bootleggy. My Globster was successful as an original piece, but it's not necessarily an original concept.
Hmm.
It's a very like recognizable kind of thing. One of my earliest pieces that a lot of people liked and bought was this guy, which is just the skull on an adventure people spaceman,
Hmm.
which I'm probably one of a dozen guys to do. I didn't do it first. I didn't do it last. And people love that kind
But
of stuff.
it looks great. I mean, he looks really sharp.
They thank
And
you.
the color theory is excellent too. That's one other thing I love about your stuff. The
And
color
that's
theory is
yeah,
always
thank
so
you.
fun.
And that's like what I was saying was that's really what inspired me was the crazy colors and
Hmm.
just being able to because like that's what I want. I wanted this specific adventure people figure in wild ass colors.
Right.
I
Oh
wanted it
yeah.
for me, and of course, other people also want that. At least a few.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, I got very, I got very into like trying to make articulated figures at a point because I'll be
Okay,
honest,
cool.
I really hate magnetic articulation in a lot of applications.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's hard to do right, and it it gives you a great result to take a picture with or to
Hmm.
pose for a second, but it's not very playable. I don't,
Right.
and for me, playability is pretty huge because I still play with my toys. Like,
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
like I remember I got the Shrek Stream measures from you at the show. So
yeah,
like I forget, is this body something that you cast or is this
no,
just
in that
okay.
case, it is just a bootleg Chap May body,
Okay. Oh
and
man.
I've made more of these as I get bodies, and it
But to me as big like this the sculpture is only half the piece because like you need
the
the
card.
card.
It's like a Schleich card. That's amazing.
I based it on Slice or the Bandai Godzilla style.
Yeah, that
Yep,
are just in a card back. Yeah.
the
Oh
shelf
man.
card style.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
But I
love
love that
that.
like you have the full card and so you get the like awesome like bootleg figure presentation, but then you can take it out and it is a playable toy and like I can have him
Exactly.
fight, my
Couldn't do
cursed
a
armor
bubble.
dude.
Can't do a glued on bubble because then you can't take it out and play with it. And
Right.
then once you
Yep.
do the package, it's kind of worthless, right? I
Right.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I've made bubble on package bootleg
Mhm.
style toys too, and I got that. That I kind of realized quick. There's so many guys doing this better than me, better than I can. They crank them out so fast. The pop culture references,
Mhm.
like Obama wears a tan suit, and the next day he's got tan suit Obama. In a what an old reference, right?
Yeah. Oh my God.
um,
A more peaceful time, that's for sure.
right. And it's like I can't keep up with those guys. I also don't care about pop culture that much. Like, so
Yeah.
the things that I was doing were so like more conceptual and arty and weird. And the people that like that kind of stuff, they just want the pop culture reference stuff. So I shifted away from the cards and that kind of thing, and um, just keeping it weird. Um,
Well,
one
I think there is something special about a bootleg you can actually play with.
This guy is one of my absolute favorites. I don't know that I ever made enough of him or that he ever got enough credit, but I called him the walking brain.
Okay.
And
Oh, nice.
That rules.
this guy in the middle here is a Z-bot,
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
rules.
and I gave him arms and legs, and it's just kind of
Yeah. Yeah, that's fucking sick,
super
dude.
simple,
Yeah.
and just simple arm peg articulation, and
Nice.
he's just a
So
little chody guy.
so when you're doing articulation on those, are you doing it where it would be like a split torso, or are you doing like Glyos pegs
So
in it, or?
So I do split torso, and I've only done it a few times.
Okay.
Here's an example. This guy is just kind of a Star Wars kit bash, and he's
Mhm.
split torso. He's got 5 points articulation.
Yeah.
Um, body two halves that clamp together. Same goes for this guy. He's two body halves. He's got legs. He's got arms. He's got head,
Mhm.
and that's the way to go. And it's hard. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Doing pegs so much easier. Doing magnets so much easier. If you
Yeah.
get, if you're going to do the magnets, make sure they're strong and make sure they're really in there. And
Mhm.
like a lot of times they over the years the glue comes undone. You take the arm off, it takes the magnet from the body with it,
Yeah.
or it. And I'm not knocking on guys that do it because a lot of guys that I respect do it, and it is just
But
a
but it's a
good easy way to
preference.
articulate your figure. But
Yeah.
for my money, you got to go. You got to go. Two halves,
Mhm.
5 points. It produces just such a good result. One of my favorite creations and one of my most popular ones, and I sell these pretty much as soon as I make them, is the pouch,
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love
right?
the pouch.
And the pouch is 5 points articulated with pegs, and they suck. They flat
Yeah.
out suck, right? I mean, and so what I've eventually started doing is I glue his legs because it
Mhm.
was really in the legs that the pegs would fail. And so now he's still peg articulated on the head, and his arms are still peg articulated. Um, and then he's just better able
Yeah, I
to
mean,
stand with the glued legs.
I
If
have
I could
this,
go back, I'd make him clamshell style, and it just
but sometimes you don't need the legs. Like I have this goblin dude that I did recently, and like you mentioned Chat May as like the basis for stuff. There's so much good Chat May stuff that's
oh yeah, there
just,
is.
you know, just the waist, the shoulders, and then the head.
Yeah, yeah. And you get a sturdy base too, Sometimes it's
Yeah,
sometimes you want him to stand more than you want him to
right,
move. And
right. If he's not going into a vehicle or like riding a horse or
exactly.
something, you can
Toy
just
Biz wouldn't have given you more articulation than you needed.
right. Yeah. And to me, actually, that's better design. Like the more joint cuts you add, the less stable the thing's going to become. And if you're engineering it for, playability for a kid and not a toy photographer who's going to be, posing it.
Right. These are exciting. This is exciting. So one of the things I don't talk about much because it's not anything I ever posted, or it's not my own work, and it's not necessarily um something I advertise, but I do a lot of prototyping and commission casts.
Oh, nice.
And
Oh,
Jesse
fuck
of Toy
yeah.
Pizza
Hmm.
has actually used me for a few jobs to make
That's awesome.
prototypes. And
Okay.
so this oh, what's his name? Verkill, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Count, that's the original Count
The
Verko.
Count Verkill figure. I had hands on the original sculpt from
Oh,
Erwin
wow.
Papa, and I made molds from
Oh
it.
man.
And I saw it before anybody else did, and
That's
I had
sick.
it before anybody else did because I had my own
Yeah.
casts. And so these are, Glyos, and this is Glyos with just the kind of cheap polyurethane resin that I use to do test casts and
Hmm.
prototypes with, and it kind of works. You can't really take it apart all that
Hmm.
easily without breaking it, but it's pretty
Yeah.
neat. Um, this
And
was
when
another
you're
project that from Jesse. Very cool to be able to work with his original pieces like that.
oh my God, yeah.
Especially from Irwin, who's an artist that I have a ton of respect for and love. I mean,
Yeah.
I honestly, Irwin is my window into that world. I was not a Glyos collector. I started with Toy Pizza. I started with
Mhm.
Jesse's stuff because I saw Irwin's concept art
Oh,
and
cool.
promotional art. And Irwin was a comic book artist that I was following because
Yeah.
I loved his art. And so that was how I got put onto Jesse's stuff. And I was like, oh, I love this concept of just these kind of generic, Sentai style
Hmm.
fighters that you could combine and customize. And I backed the Kickstarter and have been, a fan ever since. And then that kind of, once I found out that there were other makers within this line and all these
Hmm.
other styles, I was like, oh wow, and started getting, from Onell and from God Beast and Yeah, I mean, then that was so many more now than there were back then, and it's just incredible. It's one of my absolute favorite hobbies is just
Yeah.
building with Glyos, and I don't keep mine together much like Lego. I'll build the set once and then smash it, put it in a box, and
Nice.
now it's fodder for what I want to make.
Hmm.
That's how I treat my Glyos. I mean, and it's crazy how the fandom has evolved and the following. And I mean, there are figures I have in this tub broken down and spread across that I could probably sell individually in whole for hundreds of dollars.
Hmm.
Crazy. Very, very cool. Very much love to Jesse, and thanks to him for using me in such a way and allowing me to work with these toys that I think are freaking legendary.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
like both Brett and I are on the receiving of that end of that as well. It's like we've been pegged to come in and do like little projects. Like I did a scarf sculpt for him. Brett
Yeah.
recently did the scuba gear kit for a run
classic
of
night.
nights. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm 2 for 2 on scuba kits, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
because you
Maybe
did the what's his face?
for
The
Hacker Man.
Hacker Man. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got one of them.
Yeah, that was a really fun one. I was glad that turned out because I love that it was kind of like it was definitely like a dive vest, but it could also be imitated as like a Kevlar rebreather.
Yep.
Yeah, because I love Hacker Man, so it's
I
really
know
fun.
you're a fan of this piece, Brett.
I
yeah.
have one
Yep.
from Ultra Clash. Gordon picked
Yeah.
one up for me. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
this
it.
is this just for my love of Game Boy. I
It's so
had to do
good.
a Game Boy piece at some point.
I have
Did we lose Brett?
Oh no, he froze.
Give him a second. Hopefully
oh, I'm back. Sorry.
you're back. Nice.
Yeah, Pittsburgh internet not great. But I was gonna say I have him and I have the little Game Boy Keshi style figure you did.
Oh, yes, Mr. Bastard.
I called him Little Bastard, but yeah, Mr. Bastard. He's
Yeah, Mr.
great.
Bastard. Mr. Bastard is
I have him in blue. I have blue version.
Mr. Bastard. Mr. Bastard is one of my favorite named characters.
Yeah, he's great.
I had a best friend and roommate from college. Her name's A, and we used to just we were obsessed with names and just character creation. We used to play the name what we call a name game, and we would just shoot names back and forth at each other, just not ranging from like completely nonsensical words to just funny names that first name last name combos, and it just she's a filmmaker. I also make videos, and naming all of our pieces, just always bounce names off of each other. And so to this day, when I'm like struggling to name a resin piece, hey, what's up? What you got for me? And
That's awesome.
shot me a list with Mr. Bastard on it, and I was like, oh, that Game Boy guy is Mr. Bastard. I don't know why, can't explain it, but I saw it in the DM, and I said, Mr. No, the Game Boy guy is Mr. Bastard for sure. And so yeah, I just collaboration is awesome. And
Yeah.
even if I've made something 100% original sculpt, my own hands, no input, I'll like I got to get somebody to like jump in and help me name it or something, because
Oh.
like collaboration is key in anything.
Mhm.
And I do a lot very isolated, it's just kind of my way. I'm not antisocial, but I don't get out much and I don't
Mhm.
do a whole lot. So sometimes I'm like, oh wow, I've just done something completely and utterly without any outside influence. Is this a thing, or is this just some nonsense from my brain that doesn't really need to exist and no one else needs to really see? But the answer is always no. Everyone should see this nonsense. That's
Right. No, those are the best collaborators is the people who like gas you up and
oh
make you
yeah.
have even more stupid ideas.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I there's a certain amount of joy I get whenever I see Dick Jones posts on Instagram and there's just some unhinged resin piece. It makes my week. Like your whenever you started to do the Lego posts this week and you had the Ron Jeremy Lego guy. I demented. It was unreal.
The best picture I've ever taken in my whole life.
No, I've that doesn't have a bajillion views by the end of the week. I would just delete the account. Like,
Yeah, I'll never get the due I'm deserved on that one. That I'll give you that.
no,
I
that's correct. That's
otherwise,
factual.
I get what I deserve. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm very much I'm small fries and I like it. I don't mind. I have a great following. I feel I have made a lot of friends in this world doing this toy stuff.
Mhm.
It's all worth it. If I haven't sold one piece, it's all worth it. But that Lego picture should be fucking viral. It should.
That should be on the front page of Reddit tomorrow.
I've gotten Lego photos on like the Daft Punk one. That was a front
Yeah.
page Reddit post, and I used to get a lot of attention for my. Actually, I'm the Sexy Flanders. I'm the Lego Sexy Flanders originator. If you've
Oh,
seen that meme
nice.
where
Yeah.
somebody says Legos can't be sexy, and then the reply is Lego Sexy Flanders. That
Yeah.
Lego Sexy, that's my picture. That's my
That's
Lego. That's
amazing.
my Lego Sexy Flanders, and that's my shitty iPhone 3D picture of it. And that's gone majorly viral. I mean, no credit needed. That's just awesome. You love to see something like that. Um, I'm very like I'm very sensitive about artists who get freaked out about credit, whose work is derivative as fuck, and it
Mm.
happens a lot in resin and bootlegging.
Oh yeah.
Case in point, this spaceman with the skull spaceman thing, and how many other people have done it. And I've seen guys get bent with each other over
Mhm.
it. And I've seen plenty of people say, you stole my idea. And I'm like, well, Alf's not your fucking idea, dude. Star Wars
Right.
is not your fucking idea. Like, you can't be you can't own that. You can't be. So like, if you created a Star Wars bootleg and someone created a similar Star Wars bootleg, you're both fucking derivative. Like, it's not.
Well, and to me, that's like anti to the ethos of like bootlegging it in the first place. You're doing
Of
it to
course.
basically fuck over
Yeah,
Kenner and Hasbro and Lucasfilms and now Disney. And like everybody, it should be everybody against them, not all the
exactly.
small guys fighting with each other.
And it doesn't
Um,
happen a lot, but when it does, I'm always just
yeah.
like, you fucking losers. Like, it just get over it. eh, I hope at least one of those guys watches this and goes, is that
Right.
me? Am I the guy that got fucking bent over somebody stealing my idea that wasn't my idea? um, let that be known.
Mhm.
Um, gosh, I here's something it process, right? I mean, we can talk about process real quick
Totally.
a little bit. I pulled out a bunch of molds. As a mold maker, I notice, there's two camps out there. There's the guys that make a two-part mold, and there's the
Mhm.
guys that'll do anything to not make a two-part mold. And I'm here to say, do both. You got to do both because they all serve a specific purpose. This is a dump mold. It's one piece. It's one simple little minifigure. There's no vents because he's so simple and round. And you plop him in, and this is the Garamon, the little
Oh,
Garamon
nice.
leg, right? This is
Yeah.
his mold, and it's so easy. It's not even cut. It's not even cut. No vents, nothing. You pour it in, you pop them out, and
And
it's
so do
that easy,
you
right?
have to like spray any sort of mold release in there
I
between
don't.
each pull?
I don't.
Okay.
Um,
He's
I
just
think.
raw dogging it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you can kind of preserve the longevity of your molds a little bit if you do some of that and take care
Mhm.
of it. I'm not concerned with that because I'm never going to make that many because I'm never going to
Okay.
sell that many.
Mhm.
But it's something you should, if you're serious and you want this stuff to be scalable, yeah, you probably should. Yeah, this is a dump mold for a fairly simple shaped object. This is the Godzilla Mad Ball thing, right? And
Mhm.
because he's round and because the pore is not as big as he is, this is something you'd have to cut to get it out.
Okay.
And you make a simple cut down either side and he pops right out. And this is the stuff people love making these because they're super easy. And you
Mhm.
can just you all you need is a vessel that's bigger than the object, and you pour your rubber in. In this case, I have vents, all around as protruding parts so
Mhm.
that no air bubbles get trapped. air gets forced up out of those vents, and he looks good. But there are so many advantages to a two-part mold as well. And I have, a two-parter sitting here. And when you get a two-parter like this, you have so many more options for how you can fill it, right? And one of the things you can do is you can leave the parts separate, pour into this,
Okay.
Pour into that, put it together, then pour in. You can more easily brush color on when you can access the mold, instead of I've brushed color into this, but it's inconsistent. I just kind of stick the brush in there and I move it around as much as I can. With this, I know I can get, every inch of the mold covered with the pigment and get a good result. And when you're casting with these two-parters, usually you have like you want like something rigid, piece of cardboard on either side, and you wrap it up with rubber bands so it's nice and tight.
Mm-hmm.
And the rigid sides kind of keep the pressure even throughout the whole thing. And I make these with Lego. You can see on the side, you can see the impressions of the Lego. And the reason I do that is I build up the one side. And so you'd have Lego coming up the sides, and this part of it would be clay and the figure half embedded in the clay. You pour it in, and then I very easily remove the base plate, flip it over, build back up, and then pour the other half. So it's a really easy way to create a two-part mold. And there are YouTube videos that explain this. I didn't invent this technique and using Lego and all that. It's a really well-established technique.
So when you're doing this stuff, do you have like a garage space, or is this okay to just do in like your office with some like newspaper laid around? Or
yeah, I do it in the space that I'm in right now.
Okay.
There's on the opposite wall, I have a desk that is completely covered in shit right now, and I work in a space that's about this big. Unnecessarily, I could just clean up and have like a whole big long desk, but instead I'm like, constantly just closing in on myself.
That's part of the process.
And I need about 2 square feet to do this, and I have my pressure pot, which is about the only tool I have associated with this stuff. I still don't use a vacuum chamber. I still don't degas.
Pressure pots work great. What kind of compressor are you using? You just using a small one, or do you have a garage one? Or
I have like one of those pancake ones that
just little
nail guns and shit.
Yep.
I mean, it's
awesome.
It's loud for indoor, but it's nobody cares. They got to deal with that. That's and I'd like to show this, my pressure pot. This is just a lid. This is the only part, that really matters, right? The rest is just a metal pail. My pressure pot is probably 40 or 50 years old. I have no idea what it did before me. It came to me used. It's an old paint pot, as they all are. And it's ancient. I don't know. It's been used. I could be its 4th or 5th owner for all I know. And people go pretty hard on, the different fittings and stuff on there. I don't know if I'm being unsafe or not, but mine is simply a hole to put the air in, a valve to keep it trapped, and a pressure gauge so I know how much I put in it. Other than that, and then it just on and off with the hose. I'll say this though, however you put your pressure pot together, however many pressure relief valves and shit you need to feel comfortable, go ahead and do that. But critical is this piece here. This piece here. This is just a little right angle thing so that when you're blasting the air in, it's not going straight down into your mold and your resin, which would just, give
blow
you
it everywhere.
A nice geyser. So if you're putting together a pressure pot, that's my critical advice. Get this little right angle guy so you don't blow your shit up. And get something brand new and put some safety valves on it. Probably don't be like me. This is just that's
a time bomb. I like it though.
I like to just make do with what I have and what I can find. It's kind of my style. So I don't invest a lot. It's all goes into the resin and into the materials. Oh, here we go. We're Game Boy again, real quick.
Sick. Back to it.
Sorry, I'm a lot. This is I've never and this is back to kind of like what's next.
Hmm.
I've been a live stream producer and video producer for almost 10 years,
Hmm.
making professional level broadcasts. I've never done my own thing. I've never had like a show, a YouTube show. I've never done, made my own shorts or
Hmm.
short film or skits or anything like that. I have, but not
Well, you did
in.
that awesome wrestling promo for that
Yeah,
resin show. Like that, that was sick.
So
that
yeah,
was really good.
and that's kind of what got me, on this, right? Is like I think that is the thing that I always wanted to do.
Hmm.
At heart, I'm a storyteller. It's all about telling stories,
Yeah.
telling stories with the physical objects I create, um, and that's been fun and rewarding. But I think I want to tell stories in a longer form or a more obvious storytelling form, be it a YouTube thing or be it just writing.
Hmm.
Whatever it is, that's kind of the next thing for me. I think that and being the action figure and the way that those combine is,
Hmm.
it makes a lot of sense, right? I'm making costumes for myself,
Hmm.
so that maybe I can then perform on video in them. um, that's that's where I'm going. I think it's just I'm older. I'm 38. I am not a physical specimen as I once was. I am I just I don't know if anybody wants to see it, right? And that's I know that imposter syndrome is everywhere, and I have it with the toys as much as I have it thinking about this. But yeah, I guess that's the thing that is
Hmm.
like, um, does anybody want to see this? But I think the answer is yes, and I think that
I
it's
mean, the thing
it's my
is
own
like
insecurities that are telling me no.
if you want to see it, probably at least two or three other people want to see it,
But
and like that's
yeah,
what I always like. The thing of me making my stuff is like Brett pretty much always wants to see it, and so like as long as there's one
Hell
other
yeah.
person who wants to see it, it's worth doing. Because I'm doing this for me first, and then like if two or three other people are into it, hell yeah. If five people want to give me $10, like that
Even
rules,
better.
but like I don't need that.
yeah. It's I guess it's really all you need. And I say this to people all the time. I'm not doing this for anybody but myself.
Right.
And I even so insecurity is a motherfucker,
Hmm.
right? It's just
Right.
it's something you have to overcome. I don't care if I'll make videos just like I make toys, and if nobody
Hmm.
wants to watch the videos just like nobody wants the toys, I'll be fine, right? And
Hmm.
I guess the difference is that I have achieved some level of success in video stuff professionally,
Yeah.
but it's not my chosen subject matter. It's what
Hmm.
I'm being paid to do,
Right.
and it's something that generally already has a fan base or an audience. And
Hmm.
so I'm used to a level of engagement and success there that I won't be able to replicate for my own stuff. I guess knowing that, I can kind of brace myself a little, but I don't know if I'm prepared to um fail in that way. But
Hmm. Well,
I
but
guess
to
we
me,
all need
like
to be, we all
I
need to be brave and let it happen, I guess.
I also like I feel like I'm early enough in making my stuff that all the people who happen upon my stuff at this point are the people I actually like want to hang out with and maybe like, you know, hang out and have a beer at with Toy Pizza Con or like, you know, meet up at a show at Beacon. So like right now it's like who are like my hardcore fans who I actually am going to want to hang out with, 5, 10 years down the road. And then if other people happen to find the stuff, like cool. But
Yeah.
probably by that point, like seeing people who are further along, like Jesse, or even like Matt Doughty, or some of these other makers, like they have to put in a certain amount of distance between them and sort of new fans who come in because like they've already put so much of themselves into the project. Like
Yeah. I tell you what, I don't
you
want
have
that
to,
either. So maybe,
yeah, you have to keep some for
success
yourself.
success is a
Yeah.
poison in that way, right? Like, yeah, I mean, Jesse is a good example, right? I mean, I live somewhat local to where he lives. We've hung out, we've gotten together outside of just shows, and I have seen, him at shows, and I've seen the kind of the people that he doesn't actually know that want to know him, and how
Right.
those interactions go. And yeah, I don't have interactions like that because nobody knows who I am, and if they want to know who I am, I'm like, why? Okay, I'll tell you.
Right.
So that's, I wonder, I don't know. I don't know. Do I want that? Do I want the hey, you have achieved some success in this. Let's work together so that I can also, elevate
Right.
myself. And that must be a difficult thing to navigate for those guys.
Mhm.
I can tell that it is, that they, because they have connections to, people like myself, to you, who are
Mhm.
fans of their work, but also friends and collaborators. And
Right.
yeah, it's an interesting relationship to kind of balance.
Yeah. And I think to me, like, it's if you can recognize sort of fans who of your stuff who are also creatives in themselves, like those are going to generally be the more genuine interaction, and like you're approaching it more as equals versus uh I'm somebody who's trying to get something from you.
Yeah,
And
and
that's where it can get a little weird.
yeah, and even it's even I don't assume that everybody's intentions are impure, even if they're trying to kind
No.
of get something. It's not that they're trying to, they just you wanna attach yourself to a shooting star no
Right.
matter what, right? I mean, that's just anybody has that impulse, and
Mhm.
it's a natural impulse. We have leaders. There are leaders in this world, and they're leaders for a reason, because they inspire others, right?
But that's also the advantage of, taking a swerve and making it weird. And so,
Yeah,
you know, if you keep people
yeah,
guessing
alienating
that,
people.
right, then only the hardcore ones will keep kind of following you along as you go on to whatever the next thing is. Whereas if you just kind of stick to the hits, then I don't know, you're kind of easier to latch onto, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, I wanted to show it. This is actually like even before I did any digital sculpting, I had actually messed around with doing a resin glove mold
Oh wow.
of just painting. I think it was just like silicone rubber on top of this sculpey piece.
Uh-huh.
Um, and the problem with like whatever resin I was using at the time, I think it was just some shitty stuff I bought from like Michael's, was it never fully cured, and so it was always sort of tacky.
Yep.
And that sort of put me off from pursuing that as like
That happened in
I
my
mean,
first, yep. That happened in my first sessions. I went Michael's or whatever and got clear polyurethane 24-hour cure resin, and everything was just sticky and gross. And
mhm,
it's generally an issue with mixing, is what it comes
yeah.
down to. It's just, the ratio is either slightly off or it wasn't mixed enough. And you really gotta mix the shit out of it, with those long cure poly ones.
Mhm,
And I just stopped using them right away. And it's the issue is that they're cheap and they're very accessible. The
right.
stuff that works better is like so much more money, and you get less of it, for the same price. And once I made that jump, though, it made all the difference. I started
Mhm,
using, smooth on 325, 326, is the kind of resin, and it's a faster cure. It's clear. It's not really designed for clear casting. It's designed to be tinted and all that
mhm,
stuff, but it absolutely comes out pretty clear if you just, want to use it for clear stuff. And it's the I don't know, 325 and 326. The 26 is even faster. 325, you get about a half hour cure. You can take it out after a half hour. I
mhm,
actually the stuff that I use for my minis and stuff is an opaque resin that cures white without any dye, and it cures in 7 minutes. It is so
holy
fast,
shit.
and I
Okay,
I
wow.
love that, because I am impatient as fuck, and I want to just get it. I want to see. I'm like, I want to know if my mold worked. Like,
Mhm,
So I gotta get that. The first test cast is always this 7 minute stuff,
Nice.
so that I know that it worked. And it it gets hot. It gets real hot, and that's part of the cure reaction.
Right.
And you could just, I mean, sometimes if I mix too much, it'll start curing before I can even pour it,
Hmm.
before it's all poured out, and it'll burning up my hand. And you could just, and you watch it, it looks like a time lapse. It'll just like, it gets white in the middle and just expands from the middle, and then boom, it's cured.
Hmm.
Amazing stuff. It's made by Illumilite is the brand. And my little rant is, when I started doing this, the package was black and it was big, and it came in these nice bottles with the nice little squirt tops, and everything was perfect. The volume was larger, and there was artwork that showed someone making like a fishing lure using it,
Hmm.
right? And then a few years later, jewelry making is huge now, and all of a sudden the bottles have shrunk. They don't have the nice little squirt caps. The package is purple and has jewels and gems and jewelry shit on it, and it's more expensive. It's called a pink tax because the world hates women and want women to suffer and pay more money for the same things. And women, why'd you have to get into resin making? You've made it, you've made it pink taxed now. No, I'm sorry. It's women. It's not your fault. It's the world's fault for hating you, and I'm sorry about that. Um, yeah, pink tax on resin. That's my hill that I'm going to die on.
That's a worthy crusade to end on, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's a good place to plant the banner.
Right. I mean, I think it's, well established throughout the whole episode that I'm just a radical terrorist leftist, and we cap it off with that is perfect.
Awesome. Well, I get maybe we'll wrap up and give our plugs. I know like Instagram is probably main
Yeah,
people that people way that people should follow you and
pretty
like
much the only way.
mhm.
I'm at Omni underscore res. Omnirez is the business, I guess. I'm not a business. I don't know. I called it Omnirez. I call myself Dick Jones. Um, find me at Omnirez. I find me at Northeast shows, Toy Pizza Con,
Nice.
5 Points Fest, Shop the Curiosity. I go to all these shows. I set up at some of these shows, and yeah, just get me on that evil meta platform, Instagram,
Hell yeah.
and then you can, from there figure out where I'm going to be.
Awesome. Well, Brett, do you want to give your plugs?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram as Aegis_station. And as far as the shop goes, it's currently in process for some changes for next year. So keep an eye out for that. Gordon, where can
Oh,
people find
Kitty, do
you?
you want to come on? No, okay. He left as soon as I acknowledged him.
Well, he's still got
He got the
as long
shout
as it
out.
takes me to give my plugs.
Yeah.
So you can find me at Vladimir the Batamir on Instagram. And you can find me here on YouTube. I'm the person editing and posting this show. So, leave a comment, subscribe, make sure to follow Dick Jones and Brett on Instagram and everywhere else. And until next time, uh, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.